sections of the liver. It's like in the lungs, lobes. A big right, a thinner, more tongue-like left lobe. If you look across the front of the liver, you'll see a double-layered peritoneal membrane coming down that supports the liver, and that's called, kind of a strange name. It's sometimes hard for students to push it into the brain there, remember it. It's called a falciform ligament. Falciform, meaning sickle-shaped. If you looked at it in its entire shape, it would be like a sickle. And underneath it, there's a white line. If you look in your manual, you'll see it labeled as falciform ligament. But in reality, what this really is supposed to be is a round ligament, which is in the folds of the falciform. This is a remnant. This thing right here is what's left of the umbilical vein that you once had in your fetus. The umbilical vein is what fed blood from the placenta from the mom through the belly button and up into the body to give the baby oxygen, food, and other materials that it needed. Then you had umbilical arteries that would pump the blood out, but the vein brought the stuff back from the mom, and that's what's left of it, the round ligament right there. But it is in the lower folds of the falciform ligament. Now we've got the right lobe here in this one. I wish we could take this pedestal off, this part off, but it's permanently affixed to it. Carrie?
That's why I didn't know what the orientation was.
Like
it's
this.
Like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, this thing is in the way. And this one, even though it's a little small, it would be sitting up under like that, up under the diaphragm, like so. That's its orientation.
So this, so how should this be?
So
It's
that one,
inferior, right?
I forget the picture. How is it right? Just like,
Is this posterior side, right?
it's like this.
So is this the posterior side?
Yeah, that's the posterior side. Now they got that done. It's like this. That's the way it is. That's the way it's turned. As if you just took it like this and turned it like that, so you're looking underneath it. This should be the left lobe and the right lobe over here. The right lobe should be to your left, and the left lobe to your right.
Got it.
Just like that. Okay. Left lobe, right lobe, and this is opened up so you can see inside the liver. Inside the liver, though we don't do the histology, it's got the most interesting histology in the body, I think. It's got these lobules inside, not only lobes, but lobules in which blood flows up through them and then passes through a whole series of capillaries along liver cells, which then process the various nutrients and other materials that come through, produces bile and detoxifies toxins and things like that. And then the blood flows out the top of the liver. It comes in the bottom, goes through all these capillaries, and flows out the top. If you want to see where it comes in, you can see it in this model as well right here. It comes in the inferior surface of the liver through two vessels. This red one is the hepatic artery proper, and as you may remember, that comes off of the common hepatic artery, which in turn comes off the celiac trunk, which in turn comes off the aorta. And then this other one, this light blue, and I think it's kind of purple on this model here, this light blue vessel is the portal vein. Or more completely, it's called the hepatic portal vein. And it would pick up blood from the internal organs, particularly the intestines, but also places like the spleen, and pancreas and places like that, and pass it up into the liver. In fact, when you look at this model right here, I think I pointed this out last week. You can see the intestinal wall model. Just be careful; it's slippery and heavy. Thank you. When you look at this one, this blue vessel you're looking at right here, that's an intestinal vein. And the intestinal veins join together, they form the superior mesenteric vein, which runs directly into the portal vein. You learned that when you were in the circulation, the vessel part, but sometimes it's hard to put it all together until you look at stuff later. The blood from the hepatic artery proper and the portal vein, they mix within the liver, within the sinusoidal capillaries of the liver. They all come together. Now tell me this, how does the blood get out of the liver once it's passed through all these capillaries and wants to leave? It has to leave. Well, it enters that, yes, but first it has to pass out of one of 3 hepatic veins. And if you look at this vein right here, the left side one, that's an hepatic vein. The blood is going into the vena cava right there, the inferior vena cava. But it started by coming in the bottom, up through the liver, the filtering process of the liver, and then comes out the top of it over here. You probably can see one more or less right here to the left. The left one's the only one you can see because the middle and the right are embedded in liver tissue. They're within the liver tissue itself, so you can't see them. Now, lobes. How many lobes have I mentioned so far? 2. 2. Let's get it oriented the way we had it in the book there. Okay. Left, right. But there are 2 more. If you look between the gallbladder, you know this is gallbladder, right? And the round ligament over here, the bottom of the falciform. There's kind of a squared off lobe. And what root that I think maybe you've heard before means 4-sided? Quad. Quad. Quadrate lobe is the 4-sided lobe. It's not always a square. It's sometimes rectangular. It depends on the individual. But it has these 4 distinct sides to it, quadrate lobe. If you look along the vena cava, between the vena cava and the left lobe, you see a little lobe right here. That's the caudate lobe. Someone tell me what the word caudate means. Referring to what? Well, you're thinking of cauda equina, the nerves that come off the tip of the conus medullaris of the spinal cord, right? And down and out. Cauda means tail, horse's tail. Caudate refers to tail. It's kind of like the liver has a little tail along the backside. Somebody used their imagination for that one, didn't they? That's what they call it, the caudate lobe back here. So that's the major, what we would call gross anatomy of the liver. As I said, we don't really take time anymore to go through all the intricate internal histology, but it is very interesting, though. You take this this model, I'll use this so you can see it over here too. The right lobe, left lobe, and what's the membrane right there? Hard one to remember, folks. It's spelled weird, or it's a weird word, falciform ligament.
Falciform.
And then, if you turn it up like this, you'll see the gallbladder, which stores and concentrates your bile. And between the gallbladder and that white line, the round ligament, is that more squared off lobe, quadrate. So the quadrate is right there on this little model. Gallbladder round, got the quadrate lobe. Then, if you look along the vena cava, between it and the left lobe back here, you've got the caudate lobe. Now, we know that, I think we know anyway, that lymph nodes have a point of entrance into them called a hilum, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else has a hilum that you just studied? Lungs. You'll study the kidney soon. It has one. And we don't say it, I don't think, in the lab manual, but the liver does too. And it's right here where all these lobes come together. It's right there where the portal vein goes in, the hepatic artery proper goes in, and the bile ducts, well, what we call the hepatic liver ducts, come out. Because the liver makes the green bile, and it comes out through hepatic ducts, backs it up into the gallbladder, where it's stored, and water is drawn out to make that bile more potent. And whenever you eat a meal that has fat in it, there's a hormone, I think it's also a neural mechanism too, but mostly hormone, that causes the gallbladder to contract. And there are sphincters that open up, and the bile leaves the gallbladder through a short cystic duct, the bladder duct is what that literally means, down the common bile duct, and into the small intestine. Now we'll talk more about that in class too once we get to the GI tract, but study that in here too. It's on the model here. You can see most of what you need to see there on the bile ducts, the biliary system as they call it, the gallbladder, cystic duct, hepatic ducts, and the common bile